Hello, my name is Clement Lee. We have uh, a lot to cover, actually. We have this. We've done this part last time. This was phase 1. Then this is phase 2, which is what we're going to be covering. So you can see something a bit familiar, some waves, some, what's this called, gradients, symmetry, but we have some new things. Clipping, we have splitting paths. I we brushed over that. Uh, this is very pen heavy, very intensive stuff. So if you want to skip this because I don't know, you just don't want to use the pen tool right now, or you're already good at it, then you'll end up skipping a lot of this assignment, I guess. Not really an assignment, this tutorial. I have a link I want to show you, method.ac. Method of action is a list of games. Sometimes these games might be a bit buggy, but this helps you learn the pen tool for Illustrator. The pen tool for Illustrator and Gravit Designer are the same, so here we use shift on both of them. As I have covered before, I've kind of brushed on it. So yeah, bezier.method.ac. There are other games, there's only 5 in total. I like kern.me. Is there a way to reset it? I don't think so. What you do is you slide around these letters, and until you're happy with, until you think that they're spaced out evenly, which I think that they really aren't spaced out evenly no matter how much I adjust this. And when you press done, you can kind of see how accurate it is. So the blue one's the solution. So these games will help you with your design flow, your work. God dang it. Anyways, yeah, I'm terrible at kerning. That's not really the point of this. The point of this was just to show you this one game right here. I will cover all 5 games in separate videos probably, but that is up to if someone requests that. Anyways, yes. Anyways, so we start with a blank file. The width is 1024 by 1024. Oh. If you mess it up, you can always change it right here. And let us start. So we've touched gradients before in the previous phase. We haven't gotten too deep. I think we've covered everything, but let us review, I guess. It doesn't really hurt to do any review. So basically, we have a shape, and then let's make it a compound shape. So let's make a bridge. This is an align function, so it aligns along the bounding boxes, them together, so these are horizontally aligned. And let's cut it out like a cookie cutter. This looks too thin. Let me select this ellipse you can select it in these layers panel and press Alt and then move this up, maybe like this. That looks, I'm not sure. And let's set this to linear gradient. As you could see, we have, if we move this, it can be completely vertical, and that looks pretty nice. And then let's make a circle. Remember to use Shift. And since I was selecting this before this, you could see that it kind of copied and pasted the same color. If you want another color, if you want to copy and paste colors, you can just do this, click, hold, and drag and release. Or Control Z to undo. This, click, hold, drag, release. Just do that. You can also do the same with borders. So if you have another border right here, let's say it's outside, you can do this. Wait, what? What did I do? Oh, okay. And you can also do this, where you can do this so that they're the same color. But I really wouldn't understand why you would want it that way. Let's just pack them more closely together. That was the review for last time, I guess. And let's go on to the newer stuff. So we remember that if we press Shift while doing it, the pen tool, we get to snap by 45-degree increments. So click, let's start somewhere more downer. Click, 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 click. If I do this, then this is going to be just 3 triangles. Hold on. Let's do something more organic. I hope this is completely diagonal, which I doubt, but I'll just assume that it is. We can always use the grid, but I'm trying to avoid it for this specific example because we're going to make a tree, and let's make this, yes, that seems like a good color. Duplicate it, flip, and then move it right here. So you kind of see a problem right here. First of all, trees don't have a black line in the middle. If you use these little eye buttons, you can make one of them invisible just by clicking in and out, or you can make one transparent like with this slider. Now is a good time to save to the cloud and explain what the cloud really is. The cloud is a free service provided by Gravit. Let's just name this Phase 2. I have saved, yes, Phase 2. I've saved a copy of Phase 1, right here, but, I don't know, I didn't show it on camera. So, you can see that there's this icon, the G with a little trail going here. That means that it's already saved. So let's turn this up. So the first problem is that we have a black line running it down the middle, and also we have this little M shape. I call this interference because it looks good separately, but when put together, they do not look very nice. The solution is to just combine it so it's one path. I am pretty sure that you could have used the grid. I'll turn it to 64 by 64. 64 is a factor of 1024, the width of this, and you could have done this manually, like this. Do not worry about this point, we can always straighten it out like that. And this will be perfectly valid as a... Yes, this is a perfectly fine example of using the grid to help you, but I wanted to demonstrate how you can flip objects and combine objects too. So let's make this hidden and just work with this one. We can select both of them and then scale them down because we'll need a lot of space for the rest of the stuff. Let's combine them again. Let's see, what do we have? For the borders, let's change the borders to, let's say 16. 16 is an even number, so that way it's, I don't know, I like even numbers over odd. And then we can have any sized width for the rectangle. This will be our trunk, and let's set this to the same thickness and set this to center. If this one is at center, make sure they match. And we don't know if this is aligned, so it might be over to the side and not aligned. There should be a helper to align it to the middle, but if it's in the case that there isn't, you can select them both and press this button, align center. And we can align center with these two as well, for aligning the center horizontally so it looks more visually pleasing. We can probably do this as well. Well, we need to select all three and then align them, I guess. Yeah, like that. And then we can move this around for more space. Move this up. I don't care if they overlap. And then turn this to a nice brown. Okay. Yes, this is good. We have covered, reviewed gradients. Now we've reviewed flipping and alignment. Let's go over repeated transformations. Let's make this really small, actually. So let's make a square. Remember to use Shift to make a square. Red is good as color. Let's try purple. Duplicate it with Control D. Move it so that they're... Let's move this slightly down. And duplicate with Control D and keep doing this. As you could see, it keeps repeating this. Now, this may not work for you for the first time, so let me duplicate this and move this and deselect this and click on this and duplicate this, and you may notice that it didn't make a copy down here, even though that might be what you would have expected. It just did it on top of each other, and that's kind of how Gravit Designer works. It works in its own way, basically. You have to click Control D, and then let's make this a bit downer. But don't deselect it. You cannot deselect it. And then Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D, and keep going. this effect actually looks pretty nice. Though I would like if this was a bit above these ones. The pink squares were above, but whatever. I should show you. So these are the ones where it intersects, these squares intersect these purple squares. To make them go above, these are the 4 purple squares. We could just select them all and click, hold, and drag and put them up here. And hopefully this worked for you. What you might have done on accident is click, hold, and drag and put them on inside of another rectangle, which if you put it inside another rectangle, you'll see an arrow right here, and that's a mistake. Though you could also push the purple rectangles behind if that's what you got. But no, that's a side tangent, I think. So what we got was a straight line of purple squares and a straight line of pink squares, and the lines are spaced. They're spaced differently and at different trajectories. I think that was a neat introduction to repeated transformations. We can do another example where let's do shift again to make a perfect star. Let's do green. And let's make this a bit sharper. Though I actually don't know the percent ratio to get it so that these two lines are parallel to each other. But I think that 37 is clean enough. Let's do 38. 38 is an even number. Oh my, yes, okay. Perfect. Then let's duplicate it and flip it. And then let's move this right here. And you can see that these little alignment tool is going in effect. And let's push this back a bit down. Select them both, duplicate, and move this until they're basically, use shift actually, and then about here. So I think this is about 15 degrees, and press Ctrl D again. And yes, okay, and delete that. Okay, perfect. We've got a ring of stars. I think this is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, I think. Yeah, 12. 12 stars. Let's duplicate this, Control D, press Alt and Shift, and go down in like this, and press Control D again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And you can keep doing this forever, I guess, because ba-ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-bum. Oh shit. This is quite the wow. That actually looks cool. But I guess I kind of got off track, but yeah. We made a lot of polygons. Sometimes if we have a lot of polygons in one page, we can simplify this. Like, instead of just scrolling around this, we could press Ctrl G to group it. And now we have one group of this. And then we can select all of these, press Shift to unselect this, press Shift to unselect this. Okay, wait, why is this still selected? What am I still selecting? This? Okay. So now we're selecting all of these. And press Ctrl G to group them as well. So, and Shift G I think ungroups, or you could press this. Shift Ctrl G and Ctrl G, or these buttons will group them. Anyways, and if you can see, it just wants me to keep selecting this. The bounding box keeps coming up because I don't know why it's here, but whatever. Let me lock this. So locking makes it so that you cannot select it. So you can't select anything because all the things in the group are locked. And then let's click this arrow so that it's more clean. So we have this one group which is all the stars, the squares, and you cannot select any of it. But you can select these and you can select these. Anyways, let's get to clipping. Let's start with a rectangle or a square. And let's start with another square right here. And let's turn this into a path. So you can see that before it was rectangle, but now it's path. By the way, you can name these rectangles. Any layer you can name. So you can name this square. And for bigger projects this becomes useful, but it doesn't really matter. You can just call them whatever. You could name groups, compound objects, you can name anything, except this isn't working because you have to unlock it first to rename it by locking it. Anyways, so we have this path. Press D for the subselect tool. Select this point, delete it. Press this one and scale it up, and let's combine these two. And we get this weird shape, and we're going to introduce a new fill called noise. Now, wait, what? That's strange. Noise is a very weird feature of, I think it's because this is a compound path, but I am not sure. Let's change this. Yeah, I think this is because it's a, let's turn this to an, okay, so if it's a compound path, a compound shape, it doesn't want to work, but if it's an actual path, it will work. As you can see, it turns gray when you zoom in and out, and that's so that it renders more fast, I guess. It won't render when you're moving around or no, zooming out, because it knows that it has to reload a lot of pixels or something, I don't really know. And then let's learn about clipping. So let's say we want to make like a black stroke in the middle of this. So let's just make a line with the pen tool. You could use the line tool, but no one uses the line tool. At least I don't think so. And then press this, create a clip. And you can see this black stroke is in the middle of this. Let's duplicate this with Ctrl D. Move this to the side. If you can see here, this, if you put it on top, it kind of has this weird blurring effect on top, which is why I like the noise function. So let's put this on top just to demonstrate, I guess. And let's make this a noise fill. I want to make this a regular color and this a noise. I want to try that. Texture. Where is it? There's no noise? Huh. Whatever. There are lots of other types of noise. So color, really love color, but it doesn't have the same transparent effect that the original noise has. You can see it's very, very colorful, and it takes a long time compared to, wait, no, what? Really? It takes the same time? Well, I think that the colorful one looks more beautiful, but I think that this one has more effects that you can layer on to. But yeah, if you click on this, you can get into the path. You can also go right here, hide with the arrow, just click the arrow to hide. Let's just do something different, I guess, just to make it look like it's not just a sandbox. So this is just clipping. Why would clipping be important? Well, let's say we have these little eyes or something. So let me make this black and let me duplicate this. So we have two eyeballs but on top of each other, and we do intersect. And let me turn this black again. So we have this, but it's like an eyeball that's looking down. So if we select them both, we can see that it looks like two eyes looking downwards. But if you want to make it look upwards or look at you, it looks weird because obviously this one is still cutting from it. So let's delete this and start again with clipping as the method. Let's actually make this smaller because eyes are smaller than the original. So select them both and create a clip. And you should see that if I go into here, I can make it look to the right, to the left, up, down, and we don't have that problem anymore. So let's duplicate this. And yes, we have a pair of eyes. And I think that looks pretty nice. Anyways, let's get to curves, which are going to be the unfortunate part of the lesson, which if you already know how to use the pen tool, you may skip it, but maybe you might learn something if you do these yourself. Okay, so first we're going to make some upside down U's, some N shapes, I don't know. Let's go click, hold, drag up, and then I don't know why it's not aligning, but whatever. Click, hold, drag downwards. So we get this U shape. We can make a non-upside down U. Click, hold, drag down. Let's make a bit different. Let's click, hold, drag right at the middle and click, hold, drag upwards. So we get more pinching along these sides. Right here there's less points, so it's more smooth. But if you want, so let's say you want like to draw legs on a figure. This would be a more smooth legs, and this would be more stubby legs. So let's move this down here. Let's try some waves. We've went over waves in the previous phase, but let's do some new variations. Let's hold shift, go up, shift, go down, shift, go up. And I'm kind of varying the stroke weight. It doesn't matter for me. You can do fighting waves where you have just here and just do it parallel like that. And you can do I think, yeah, we did the same thing, this little squarish wave in phase 1. Nothing too important. So we went over this, where it goes both down, this, where it goes down, right, and up. I forgot to talk about another one where it goes down and to the right and up to the right. So we get this pinching one. It's just this one, but a cross section. Just half of it, I guess. And now let's talk about braking curves. You might have seen in phase 1 a point where I made a zigzag. And I was talking about how the corners are broken, but also I talked about doing this. Now, it's actually a great method, just laying down points first and then making them smooth. So if I select them all and press the smooth, the mirrored, you can see it kind of automatically generates a wave. It tries to automatically smooth it out. And sometimes that's really helpful, but sometimes it's not. Let me delete that. But yes, to break a curve manually, up, click, hold, drag up, click, hold, drag right, but don't release it just yet. Press the Alt key, and that's how you break a curve. So this is no longer locking to the opposite side. So let's go downwards and release. And then click, hold, drag, Alt, move it up, release, click, hold, drag. So we got this curve, which is essentially this curve, but I made it without making a zigzag first. Now, you can kind of see what this kind of leads to. So, let's see, Alt, and then Alt again. Wait, no, you don't need Alt because I'm just doing 2. So you can see like children's drawings have like this sort of bird shape, or it could be like a mustache if you turn it upside down. You can just repurpose it like that. What else? I'm going back to my reference material just so I can see the other curves that I wanted to teach. But unfortunately, it's not letting me. Hold on. Okay, yes. So we've got this cursive looking H. We go up, and to the right, left, maybe down and to the right, maybe left, and up and to the right. The less points that you use, the more smoother that it will become. So if I delete this point, it will become more smoother, but here it's a bit tighter, but it's still smoother nonetheless. Hold on. Yes. So something like this looks quite elegant actually. I really love this. And then let's go over the next one. Go up and to the left, up, right, down, right, and down into the left. And you can select these with the subselect tool and just kind of adjust if you want. Honestly, this looks a bit stubby, but to me it doesn't really matter as long as they're recognizable, as long as I can read these symbols efficiently. If this was like a letter of the alphabet, then that would be cool, I guess. If it's unreadable and wobbly, what you don't want to do, maybe you do want to do, is have like many points. And do this. Some people love this effect. I personally don't really enjoy this effect, but if you like this effect and do this to everything, sure, you can do this, but if you want something smooth, you should do the Bezier curves. Okay. And here is an exercise where I intentionally split it with Alt and Shift to go down, and then keep pressing Shift, go up, and then click this one, and then go here. Wait a second, no, not click this. Yes. Press Ctrl Z to go back. Click this, but press Shift to go upwards, then Alt, and then boom. And we've got this little, I guess it's like the astrological symbol Aries. I have no idea how to pronounce it. Aries is the god of war. Aries? I have no idea how you say it. But yes. And let's go over another astrological symbol, but this one I don't know the name. Maybe it's Scorpio. It's the one with that looks like an M and then a P. So let's go use Shift, Alt, and then still hold Shift. Go back up. Let's see. Align, yes. Shift, Alt, and then go back up. Unfortunately, the handles don't snap to each other, but in future phases I'll show a way in which you can kind of there's no feature, but there is a way in which you can kind of help this. There's a way you can kind of cheat the system, and I'll show you about it in another tutorial. So I really have no idea what this symbol is called, but I call it MP because it looks like an M and a P. The ones where it has these little 180-degree turns, maybe now you understand why some of the zigzagging had these breaks in it. If we had a 180-degree turn, then at certain angles this little point gets way too sharp and starts extending more and more. And you can see even at here, this would probably extend all the way across the canvas and probably end around here. And let's delete this. So we've got this, and for fun, let's color them. Let's just color this red, blue, pink. I just want to show you the color swatches. These are the default swatches. You just click on them just to set the colors. Though I think that they're way too bright to be useful in many contexts, but this is just for demonstration purposes, so it is fine for me in this context to have it bright. Last symbol for, in the case of breaking, would be this, where we have something like this. So these are all like made up symbols, I guess, but I've designed them, well, some of them I didn't design, but the ones I did, I've designed to teach you how to break it, curves like this. And the ones that I haven't, I've showed you how to kind of pick points. So the tops of loops would be great points to pick. Well, of course, the start and the end. So of course here the start and the end, the top of the loop, and the head of the curve. And here, picking the points, and then breaking the curve here. So I've specifically chose symbols that broke curves, and right here I've specifically chose curves that vary in tightness, right here in direction, and ones that break for this one and this one. I think that we should, if you've done all of this, honestly, if I go and show you the original, there are other symbols here, but I honestly think that if you've made all these, then this really shouldn't be a problem for you. So I'll just go ahead and make this a bit easier, a bit shorter for you, that if you want to, just here's it again. Just screenshot this or something and copy and paste the screenshot onto Gravit Designer and try working on these yourself. But I will personally not be working on these. These figures are left as an exercise to the viewer. I almost said reader, because I keep it's kind of a joke in the math community, I guess. Anyways, let's go to shadows. So there are two types of shadows, even though it technically says that there are one. So if you click this effects box, you have, never mind. I've never done all these shadows. I've only done drop shadow, honestly. So we have this drop shadow where we have this blur, basically, and this offset. So positive X would go up, and then positive Y would go down. And let's duplicate this and move it. As you can see, when we duplicated it, the shadow was kind of 2 times darker. And let's press this trash to remove the effect. You can also remove the fill, so it's just a path with nothing, but I don't find that as useful, so let's give this a color. And then let's do this curved shadow, which I've personally never seen before. Well, I've seen this before, obviously, but I've never used this. And oh my god. Wow. I think I should start playing with this more. Because every time I re-record this stuff, I learn something more. Anyways, let's duplicate this and move this down and delete the effect. And let's press inner shadow isn't too you can play with these effects later. I just want to show you blur. Blur is kind of like, I would say, is like this. It turns the figure into a shadow, but it doesn't have the figure on top. So if you want to have, let's duplicate this and delete the blur effect. So we have the blurred version and then the unblurred version. So let's move this up into the left. So this is how you have a shadow the same exact color as the or object, or you can have different colored shadows. Wait, does this have a color? Oh, it does have a color. Well, never mind. I'm an idiot. I guess this doesn't really have a use unless you want to have like some weird effect like this where the shadows don't really align, but you want to imply that they're related, I guess. And let's do this again, but with a circle. So remember to hold shift when you're making a circle. And this time, instead of pressing here and blur, let's just press blur right here, the plus sign right here. And let's just do this. And now the break's over. Time for paths. Well, I'm just kind of kidding. The last path we're going to make is this. It's a 5-pointed star. And in case you were wondering, what's the difference between this and a regular star? Let's select this and move this here. Let's make this less sharp so that the corners don't break. I think the corners are sharp enough. I think I've made it too sharp. Let's zoom in more and hopefully... Okay, good. It keeps getting worse. I have no idea. Okay, so... Yeah, I'm just not going to bother with this and just smooth it. Anyways, when we add a fill, you can see that there is red in the middle. Let's turn this to a different color. Yellow. I absolutely don't like yellow, but sometimes we gotta add the variety. If we go here and click even odd, we can see that the middle is a white color, and that's because we have holes. Holes are useful in certain contexts. Let me just make scribbles with the pen. This is just me randomly making a scribble and just close the path. when I make this, well, you can see that where it intersects, it doesn't keep the holes. You might see these white sections, but don't be fooled. It's just a better, more intuitive example would be, hold on, this, where it self-intersects here, but it's still a C. Like if I move this up, it's still the letter C, so of course it's going to have this. It's not going to fill it once I do this. But, oops, I accidentally changed the language. So if I go here, settings, even odd, you can see that the holes come back. Here, as you could say, all the neighboring one is the opposite color. Let's do this to here, so you can kind of predict what's going to happen. This part's going to be white. Keep holes. And then, yeah, that's called even odd filling. If you want a mathematical thing about that, search up on Wikipedia winding number. I think you might find that useful. Let's just push this up. And let's go over more layering. So, you already know the deal. We have 3 things. 3 rectangles. But we want this to be on top. This one's on the bottom, this is on the middle, this is on top. Let's rename this to be top. Rename this to be middle. And rename this to be bottom. This is just to review the renaming of paths, which if you're working for freelance art, just commissions, and the client doesn't ask to see the original file, then it probably would be a waste of time for you to do this. But if you're working on group projects where the file is going to be passed around, then it's a good idea to name these layers. So what we do is we see that the bottom is on top of the middle and the middle is on top of the top. So we can click, hold, and drag and move this up here. Click, hold, and drag, move this up, and click, hold, and drag and move this up. One thing you might have accidentally done, which I have kind of covered up here, is that you might have done this. And this is the same exact thing as clipping. So if you can see, just click on this to expand it and just click, hold, and drag and move this up. Or, hold on, move this down and move this back up. God dang it. Oh, okay, this is good. What else? I think that what we have covered is good enough for the day. Let us expand the sizes of these objects so that it looks like an artwork. It looks like a finished artwork, I guess. So and this will help with your layouting, I guess. So move these down here. And as you can see, we have finished this tutorial. this is the end of phase 2. I'm sorry that I might have caused a bit of hopelessness in the middle of this tutorial by making everything so small and making you think that maybe this dude's gonna go on forever or something. We have one space left. I'm just going to do the same thing as here, where I just repeat a transformation. So Control D, move this, and rotate. So Control D, and just boom. Or hold on, I think I got a better idea. Let's try making it spiral in, if I can do that. That is, duplicate, move it, transform, and smaller. Perfect. And I can keep zooming in. It doesn't want to zoom in anymore. It just wants to lag, I guess. This is zoomed in 25600 times, and these are so small that they won't even render anymore. So I'll just delete these objects, I guess. I don't think they'll be worth pursuing. I think that whenever rendered, you won't be able to see down there anyways. But yes, this is where it's at. Let's move this up here. And we actually have more space. And let's do something. Let's try some effects. Let's try vignette. Just remember, Gravit Designer is very user-friendly, and maybe you don't need my tutorials, and that's completely fine. My tutorials are just for people who want something to watch and follow along if they don't want to play around with stuff. And yeah, every time I make some tutorials, I find out something new about this. If you can see the inner shadow, if I create an effect, inner shadow, it's a bit different than vignette. So vignette is more circular and inner shadow is more squarish. Or if we have custom shapes, I'm pretty sure that it would follow the shape. This is a compound path. I can't do it on this. Hold on. Let's make a path here quickly. Bop bop boom, boopy bop, bop. I don't know why it's split, but whatever. What was I gonna do? I was going to do, yes, inner shadow. It should follow, yes, it follows the, what's it called? The innards. So I'm not sure if you can see this. Okay, yes. It takes a while to re-render after zooming out. So all the effects, the noise, the shadows, the inner shadow, vignette, inner shadow, drop shadow, curved shadow, I think, blur and blur, these are all effects that kind of, when you zoom in, they kind of, for a second, they have no colors. And that's completely fine. That's just the renderer doing its thing. Of course, we can do other things, but honestly, I think that, yes, I'm just going to push this up. Just move this up and move this, up. Doesn't really matter anymore. I don't really care. Where did I put it? Yeah, middle is right here. So just on top of middle, boom. So we've demonstrated filter. We've also demonstrated symmetry. We have shown noise and the noise filter, noise colors, strokes with gradients, linear gradients, vignettes, inner shadow, drop shadow, curved shadow, blurs, blurs with the same object on top to make it look like a shadow, how inner shadow kind of has this own complexity. Curves should be drawn with the pen at the ends and also at the tips of loops or at heads of curves. Here are some broken curves where we break the middle. More broken curves where we go up and break right here. Another broken curve. This is probably some sort of graph, but I don't remember from school. And then 3 layers of smoothness. So we have one with 2, and one with 3 points. But you can see that this is more smooth because they are parallel to each other, and these one kind of pushes into each other. If you were to push this even further to an extreme, you would get this little pushy thing. If I go here, we get the loop, but I don't think you would like that, except for small certain cases. We've went over waves again, fighting waves, ones where the Bezier handles kind of fight against each other. More squarish waves where it fights again. Broken waves. This could be like an ocean waves. More broken waves, but without the zigzag method. And a mustache. This could also be a wave, I guess, like an ocean wave. And then we've also went over repeated transformations with the spiral, this little central stars. These repeated squares, and even odd filling, where these little parts are white, but in regular filling they would still be filled. And then we also went over 5-pointed stars. For phase 3, I'm going to show you so that you can get a sneak peek of what phase 3 is going to be like. So we get this crescent and star. I'm pretty sure you can already do this. I'm pretty sure we'll skip over this. Opacity layering, addition, difference layering, difference blending, tessellations, 3D objects, waves, more complex versions of waves at least, it's more of a review, auto smoothing, and what's it called? Combining again. So most of this is review, but the bottom section would be kind of hell. And for stage 4, by this point, this is just taking what we've learned and pushing them to a different level. A whole new dimension of pain, honestly. Anyways, I hope that you have found this tutorial useful. Go ahead and press this icon to save it. You can also file, save to local file as, and then phase2.gv design, I think. And then send me a copy of your file so I can review and look through all your points and everything. And have a wonderful day. This is Clement Lee, and this is my Gravit Designer tutorial. You are halfway done, and I hope you have a wonderful night.